Good morning, sixth graders, to second week of mathematics YouTube version. First off, on the first week, it went pretty well. I didn't get too many math questions, but please ask those questions if you need to. This will also be the first week of pretest and final test. The pretest will be a daily score, and the final test will be your test score. Your daily lessons, you should be keeping up correcting them as I send out the correction sheets to you. If you're not getting those, you need to let me know via chat, and I will attach it personally to your chat section so you have it to check it over. Again, but I will be setting up the test version 14B and 14A, and we're going to have another YouTube that you need to look at here as far as for how to set that up. So I'm really going to want you to look at that YouTube to make sure you understand how I want you to do your pre-test and post-test. So let's go ahead and get started. And we're up to lesson 75 today of comparing converting fractions into decimals. All right, so what we're really doing, we're on lesson 75 again, and we are on page 364, 365. So I've got up here, and I've tried to break it down where it's into a step procedure of how you would do it. So we have step 2, which I didn't put a 2 here, which I should have. But let's start off at the beginning. We start off with a problem such as 3/5 or 5/8, which is bigger. Now, some of you would say, well, I can figure that out in my head. And I get that. Great. We always know that they start off with easy examples, but they're going to get more difficult. And we need to use things that we used in the previous lesson to help us figure it out. So the first step, what we're going to do, is step 1's over here talking about I take the 3/5 and the 5/8. And remember what we did. We have the 5. The 3 goes inside the box, so 3 first box, just like we did earlier. And I added my 2 zeros in. And then the 5 became my divisor outside of the box. And then I went through my work, which is 5 goes into 30. Of course, I move my decimal up. And I get my 0, so I don't even need this extra 0. So my final answer there is 0.6. So I'm going to move that 0.6 up here to the first part of the comparison. All right, now I'm ready to go to the 5/8. 5/8, if you notice, I did the same thing. 8 goes into, or is it the outside of the box? 5 being the first number, first box, again, 5 goes inside. I put my decimal in. I started off putting in my 2 zeros, and then I did my math, but if you notice, when I did this, I had to put a third 0 in. So when I had to put that third 0 in because it didn't work out, I'm going to back this up so you can actually see what I did here. I got to this point here, and I went 8 into, I went into first, I sat here, and I noticed, let's clean that up just a little bit. I subtracted, brought my 0 down, and then after I got my 0, I went 8 times 2 is 16, which is here, and then I'm not done, I have a remainder. So that means I needed to put a third 0 in. Bring it down. It's going to work. How many 8s are in 40? 5 times. Then it works out great. So my final answer is 0.625. Which again, I'm going to draw my dotted line up here, and it shows it there. Now I got to decide, now I can compare them. Now I got to see, how am I going to compare these? Well, first off, I go to step 2. I need to fill in the same amount of place values as I have for 625. So if I had turned this into just a regular comparison number without the decimals, I have 625. To make the whole number, I changed it to 600 because 0.6 is equal to 0.600 or 0.60. So I added those zeros in, but to make it look the same so you could see the comparison. So is 600 larger or 625 larger? Well, you can line them up even. Obviously, 625 is going to be larger. So therefore, when we come back over to here, conclusion, that means that 0.6 comparison to 0.625, we have that. That means that the mouth is going to open towards the 6.625. So going back to the fraction, 3/5 is less than 5/8. And that's my final answer. So again, the key part is is setting up the division correctly. And yes, after a bit problem, I'm going to just let you do it on the calculator, because that's what you'll typically do. But you need to be able to understand the process of getting from the fraction to the decimal, of how you do that. That's the whole point of the lesson. So again, when you're doing it longhand and doing the long division, you need to again make sure you identify the place value that we had at the end of the step process. Anyway, I hope that makes sense to you. I'm really, like I said, it's not a hard lesson. Some of you look at it, again, get it, you're on your way. So if you have questions, do what you've been, video chat me, and I have my whiteboard set up at home, and we'll go through it together. Have a great day.